Before we transition to Impact and CMLO, because I definitely want to talk about both before I let you go, and thank you for being so generous with your time.
Absolutely.
One thing that stood out to me immediately when I first saw you is you dressed and you acted and you had an entrance of a star. And I'm not saying that just because you're here, I promise. But there's a certain thing where some people can pull off just coming out without a big over the top entrance or an over the top look, and it works for them. And then some people it just doesn't really work for. For you, you had a certain personality, and there was something just grabbed people's attention as soon as you walked out. How important to you was getting, good gear, a standout look, because again, you look different than everybody else.
It was very, very important to me. I remember kind of what I gravitated towards, even being a newer fan, is appeal, is entrance. What do you feel as soon as someone hits that curtain? Are you, what do you invoke in someone? Do I understand your character? Do I want to know more? Those kind of things was very important to me because, again, I did want to be just more than a gymnast in a wrestling ring.
Mhm.
It was very important to me that the character was portrayed a certain way. And, in the beginning, it wasn't really what I wanted. I think it was easy for people to sink their teeth into. Like Frozen was a whole big thing. And like I just kept getting pegged in that like Elsa box. But, it was relatable. It was something that helped me lean into that until I got better at wrestling. But I was always forward focus on that. Good gear was very, very important. I wanted to dress for the job that I wanted. I wanted to look like a professional and I wanted to be a TV product. I always had that in mind. I didn't go into this thinking I want to be an indie wrestler, right? Like
Yeah.
and some people do and that's okay, right? Like some people make a great living and you can, but I think I wanted to look television product.
And that makes sense where your first real exposure. I mean, you were exposed to it for years, but your first real exposure, Charlotte Flair. You look at her and she has this big entrance and she comes across like a star. So it makes sense that in your own way, not really emulate it, but a similar vibe.
I mean, my first experience wrestling was on television. So
Yeah.
it, it's hard to step down from that and to
Mm.
unfeel that and to unknow that and not shoot for that again and again and again. I think, you know, maybe people expect everyone to start at the bottom and stay at the bottom and work their way up for X amount of years. But when you are exposed to something like that's what you want and you want it over and over. Like I want 15,000 people in the audience for every match, right? Like when you go to that and then you go to wrestling in front of 30 people, like it is humbling, but I'm not working to only work for 30 people for
Mm.
10, 15 years. Like that's not the goal. So anything that I could do to up my value for any product for those 30 people, that promoter or a television product, like that's what I was prepared for.